The thing is with R. Kelly is that he needed to get convicted for the crimes he did. And that's
we're cutting this all out.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hello, do you do garage music, mate? Do you do garage music? No. You got none of that.
Welcome to Pure Water Podcast. This is episode 30. This is the first episode we've taken a video of.
Yeah.
If you get to see this, you're lucky. You're one of the few.
Don't know.
But yeah, episode 30 here with myself, Ade.
Glow to Lokes. Jules always, man.
Yeah, we're here. We're always trying to up our levels, man. We're trying to do something new today.
Yeah, I feel you, man. You need to try things in life. Elevate.
100%. It's 2020. This is a new year. It could be the last year because the way this year's been going.
Corona. That Rona vibe.
Yeah, the Rona.
Fever for real.
Yeah, the Coro virus is about.
Shit's crazy.
It's actually crazy still. It's actually real life, man.
I hope everyone gets to go on holiday, fam, because it's actually deep. It's actually deep. It's deep.
True.
It's deep. Afro Nation, Rolling Louds.
Yeah.
What other holiday?
Coachella.
No one's going to Coachella, fam. What else is there? Yeah. But for our community, no one's going to Coachella, fam. People just go to Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Spring
break.
People are out there already, so
Yeah.
let's see if they'll come back.
Oh yeah, 100.
No.
Usually people go on holiday and worry about like STDs and stuff. Now you got to worry about airborne diseases.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
Like,
It's crazy. We're ungrateful those days. It was all good just a week ago, man.
Word, fam.
Was it really?
By the day.
It was festering a week ago.
It's by the day.
It is what it is, man. We're here, Pure Water Podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we were just talking about Aitch, man. So Aitch and AJ Tracey just dropped a track called Rain. Anyone want to give their thoughts on that?
So we opened. I thought the track's not good to me.
Alright, cool.
That's
Ready?
just it.
Alright.
It's a tune, innit? It's a tune.
Fam, what do you mean, fam? What do you mean?
It's a tune. I'm not gonna say it's alright. It's just a tune.
No, what does that mean? Of course, yeah, it is a tune, fam. What's your opinion, fam?
My opinion is that's the music that they want to focus on.
So, you see?
That's what they want to sell. So let them sell it, innit?
Yeah, no. At the end of the day, we can all agree they're sick artists. They're good musicians. They know how to rap. They know how to make music.
But that's the music they want to make.
And they've dropped this track. You feel me? We're not going to talk about their catalogue or what they can do. We know they've been doing it, and they're successful enough for us to be having a conversation in another part of London, because these man, they're probably in studio. Probably in the studio doing that thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, do the rapping thing.
Send me the stems.
But so regardless of their successful careers, regarding their track Rain, personally, it's not for me. I don't really think it's for me. I feel like it's more like a summer festival, like for a younger demographic.
That's what I got from it.
That's what I'd say. Yeah,
fair. I'll give you that.
100%. So moving on from that one, they had an interview with Rob, I believe, from Capital Extra.
Who's that? Who's that? Rob from Capital Extra.
He's a black man.
Presenter.
Yeah, he's a
DJ.
presenter.
Is that a DJ? DJ presenter?
He's the guy with like the twisty top.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, him.
Okay, yeah. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of this, by the way. So.
Oh, haven't you?
Nah.
Okay, so essentially, it was basically around the conversation of grime and just the genre. I don't really know how they got there.
So it started with, so they're just talking in general, blah blah. Then it started with the Wiley discussion. And obviously AJ Tracey has said that he was mentioned in a discussion, and he was just thinking like why kind of thing, that he respects Wiley, he understands that you have to pay homage to you have to pay homage to the person that created the genre, so because of that, like he's the GOAT in it. But he said when it comes to Stormzy versus Wiley, Stormzy will spin Wiley any day. He said maybe if it was back in the day, then Wiley would have had the thing. He said I have to back my guy. Then they asked Aitch's opinion.
He's Stormzy.
Yeah. They asked Aitch's opinion, and Aitch said the same thing, that his money's on Stormzy, and that at the end of the day, no one his age, either he said no one below his age cares about grime. Like they don't care about grime, innit?
Okay.
And then because of that statement, it's obviously blown up, and it's become a thing where people are saying he's not qualified to discuss. He said, you can't tell me anything because I'm talking about my generation and below, innit? Which is fair. But obviously this whole thing has blown up, and it's become a thing where, one, you're not qualified enough to talk about grime, and two, it's just like, what do you know about anything, innit? And obviously people are getting onto Aitch saying this and that, but most people agreed that he is not lying, innit?
Before we go into that, can we talk about this thing of like, do you have to be qualified to like talk about grime? Like, what is a grime qualification?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
People often say, oh well, they only respect the opinions of those that grew up in and around that culture or community.
I mean,
and someone that has, if we're talking about stripes, like quote unquote stripes, innit?
I mean, I think that's kind of air, innit? I think the idea that he's not qualified to talk about it or old enough to talk about it doesn't really make sense. Old enough is very stupid. Because he's obviously talking about his own demographic and people from his actual environment. I think he's like 20 years old, so
he's actually a kid.
Yeah, he's young,
and he's not lying. Like, kids don't care about that stuff.
I do, and the thing is, if you look at Aitch, he was doing like risky road ciphers, like grime ciphers, stuff like that as well. Yeah. So I do think the idea that anyone younger than him doesn't care, I actually disagree with him, to be honest with you. And I think the idea that no one cares about it is not true. Because
of course, that's a general statement, though,
yeah.
Like obviously, he could only be as specific as he could have been more specific, but for the most part, this is their reality, and this is what he's saying about their reality. Yeah,
but that's as a like top 5 best-selling rappers in the whole country. You feel me? I feel like it's like, you know, Arsenal can start talking about local league and say, you man don't sell out no seats. They've still got fans. They still have fans. At the end of the day. So I think the whole thing about Aitch, with the whole thing, oh, no one younger than me doesn't care about grime, I definitely don't agree. I definitely think that grime has fans of all ages, and people listen to it. People are finding out about stuff every day, and especially because people have come from the sort of the genre of grime, like Aitch and like AJ Tracey. Then I'm gonna say definitely people that are really big fans of them, whether it's girls, guys, kids, adults. They're gonna look back. They're gonna type in Aitch. They're gonna type in AJ Tracey. And then they're gonna watch AJ Tracey doing rinse ciphers with Big Zoo and all these guys, and then other people gonna look on YouTube and find Aitch as well and see him do risky road ciphers and see him using actual grime flows and doing all this type of stuff in it. So I think that.
What does that mean? They become fans though?
Of what?
Of grime, or they're still just fans of the musician?
Yeah, but it's about being interested in it. I think I would say
some, like, not to be technical, but subconsciously you are, because you're listening to big, like, whether it's Aitch or whether it's anyone else, like, do something of a certain culture in it, and you're enjoying it. Do you get me? So you're a fan of it, you enjoy it. Do you get me?
Yeah.
But it's I feel like maybe and I still feel like maybe Aitch has that air of like, he's not allowed to talk on certain things or having sort of like a strong opinion on certain things because he's a white boy in it. I still feel like he has an air of that about him, and maybe I can imagine him like coming across quite blunt, quite like nonchalant. Do you get me? Where I feel like that's probably where the bulk of the reaction like
100%
lays in it. Do you get me?
Yeah, 100%.
As a 20-year-old from Manchester, I can understand why he would say like no one cares about grime, because he wasn't living in a time where he was born and there was a lot more of an emotional attachment to it, because again I link it back to like things outside of the music and how grime music connects the community and stuff like that. So yeah, I would like, for me, I don't really see much sort of wrong with what Aitch is saying. Going back to AJ Tracey, I'm just trying to remember all the things Wiley said during this sort of time in it, and maybe where like he's like upset.
He said that. Remember, he said Labrador Golf was a shit chew.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with Wiley, you gotta understand like it's a draw out, and I didn't.
That's what he loves to do.
No, but it was actually a straight.
Yeah,
like, no one was talking about it.
Yeah. You know what I think about Wiley? I feel like.
And I don't feel like Wiley doesn't lie, innit? Like his opinion, that's his opinion. Like he's saying strong shit. Like that's not insult to you. He just doesn't like the track.
Yeah.
And you gotta realize, like the way Aitch and maybe AJ Tracey would feel like, our generation don't care. That generation is probably a lot more direct with how they judge each other's tunes. So you can't have it both ways. You gotta be open to criticisms and like. Yeah, and it's okay to have your opinions as well.
Yeah,
just
move on because everyone's able to have their own opinion at the end of the day.
Because for me, like, what hurts you most about Wiley saying like Griffith shit? Is it the fact that you put your heart and soul into this track, or is it because someone said it like you caught a stray and it's from someone that you put on a pedestal and it's on a public platform? Like, what are you upset about? What are you upset about?
Basically,
that's what it is for me.
Yeah, 100. I think it's that, and I think it's because of how successful they both are in their careers.
Exactly.
I think they look at that. Look, this is the new gen, and we're doing this, and people like our music.
Yeah.
Just because it's not is completely comparable to every beat or every tune that these guys have made, doesn't mean that you can call it shit.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I think at the end of the day, I feel like it is definitely it's created this whole youngers versus like olders thing, which is.
It's been brewing for ages though.
I mean, yeah. It's been happening. It's been happening, and it's been falling. I mean, it's been falling into place, innit? But I think ultimately, all of this stuff proves that Grime isn't dead, though. I think this proves that Grime isn't dead.
Why?
Because people are talking about every 30 seconds, every opportunity.
But that's
every opportunity.
When
like,
Grime,
Grime.
People say Grime is dead, they're not saying that like it's not that the genre doesn't exist anymore. It's that what is coming out is shit. That's what most people mean when they say Grime is dead. Like, it's not popping. It's not that the genre or the old classics and stuff aren't great or aren't good. It's just that what's happening now isn't great.
I think the way people treat Grime it's not, let me not say it's unfair, but it's just like, as soon as there hasn't been a Grime hit in the last 6 months, it's like, oh, no one cares about Grime. Grime is this, Grime is that. But at the end of the day, if you look at all the majority of the biggest artists that are coming from the UK have all made Grime. They've all made it, and that's one of the catalyst things.
This is Wiley's
that has actually made them pop.
This is the same argument that Wiley had. Like, we get it, okay? Like it's over. Like, it's okay. Like, it's actually just like, to some people, it's just a stepping stone. To other people, this is like my bread and butter, innit? And it's okay for it to be either or.
That's what I'm saying, because I feel like this argument continues. Because
people actually want you to give your life and soul to this, right?
Yeah, like the people that are involved in the argument are arguing two different things in it. I feel like people that say Grime is dead are looking at it as like, yeah, just a genre in it. Whereas I feel like the people like the Wileys and stuff are saying Grime's not dead, because I feel like they look at it and they probably accepted it, like come to terms with the fact that Grime is more of like an infrastructure now. So it's like, yeah, like you said, like a platform, like something to bring you to that next level. Whereas people that are saying, oh, Grime's dead, is because
it's just music.
It's not like, you're looking at it, at the end of the day, A, Grime is probably the smallest genre, like one of these smallest genres like in music. And B, it's like, you're arguing as if it's like an active thing. Do you get me? Obviously, I understand people that stay in there's a community of Grime artists and stuff like that. And the truth is, if you're doing a Grime artist, you're not trying to be a pop star. You're actually trying to have the best verse on a 10-man cipher. Do you get me? That's what Grime's about. Obviously, like there's a grey area in like commoditizing and making money off the back of it, but the bare bones of Grime is going to a cramped studio or cramped space and spraying the best 16. Do you get me? And like, I feel like that's where the argument is, because obviously with the people that are saying Grime is dead, we're looking at it from like a business sort of established like genre type vibe in it, whereas the people that are in Grime that know and understand it are looking at it like, no, this is an infrastructure. Like, it's like a hub where you basically earn your stripes.
It's cage football.
I look at Grime as basically like the A&R of UK music, because you go in there, you develop your sound, You learn different intricacies. You learn how to bar your head off. You learn how to cut yourself out away from the rest, and then you go through. Do you get me? That's what I look at Grime as now. That it does more A&R work than these A&Rs in these buildings.
Yeah, I would actually genuinely agree with that.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
But I think, you know what, and this is, let's move on to the argument of, alright, cool, can Grime grow? Like, and because AJ Tracey basically like, he said he doesn't think Grime ever gets bigger, or it doesn't really grow, and people do other stuff, because he would go into like rinse ciphers, and then he would rap on he would do like a 140 BPM instrumental. He'll rap on it, same flow, but it will be it might be like a trap beat or whatever, and then people say, oh, that's not Grime, and be getting onto him or whatever. So he's gonna be like, alright, cool, I'll go do my thing, and then he did his thing and it pops. So I think that's an element to it. So I think
there's too many rules. I think with back to what you're saying, there's just so many there's so many rules that people put in place, but there's no official rules. So wasn't it Jamie that once put out something about Grime rules, the rules of Grime or something like that, like a few years back? But it's because, again, it's going to like, some people say Grime is 140 only, other people say it's not 140, it's about the cadence and it's about the flow and it's about the type of lyrics. And because of that confusion, or there's no like set guidelines or rules, like AJ Tracey has said, you're spitting and man are telling you it's not Grime. So eventually you'll be like, cool, let me go do the other thing then, innit? And I'll come back. So like but there needs to be some sort of clear guideline, innit, as to what is Grime and what isn't. Because to me, someone could be a Grime musician but not make Grime.
I think no, that's very, I think that is intrinsically true in it with majority of artists that came from Grime, because they're still taking the skill that they learn. I think Grime's like the art of war in it. Like you learn how to, you learn when to attack, you learn when to defend. You feel me? So I feel like it's an environment that hones art and that creates some of the best artists. And I think the reason in terms of its actual growth and not being a larger commodity and a larger infrastructure, I think is based on the fact that it doesn't actually have A&Rs. Like it doesn't actually have. No. I think it works. It's like what Julius said. I think it works as a system of A&Ring, and it allows people to say this person's good, this person's not good, whatever it is, and people are able to get better. But I think at the end of the day, the biggest A&R in Grime right now is the Grime Daily YouTube channel. Is really Link Up TV. No, but genuinely, I feel like we don't have individuals that can be like, okay, you guys should start a crew. Oh, you should do this. Yeah, 100. Oh yeah, this is 100% an assumption, isn't it? But being in this one community that we all live within, I'm pretty sure like information actually filters to us. Let's just be honest, innit? If people were doing this all the time, like we would have heard about it by now. If we had, for example, like we've got like people like Caroline SM who did New Gen with Bonkers, Renz. Who else?
Is Bonkers and Renz not a Grime musician?
No, but I mean, just as a whole, when you've got people that are actually able to work together and create something. I saw someone put up a post and I was like, the only thing that Grime needs for it to be the biggest genre in the UK right now is for the whole of BBK to make an album, is for the movement to come back together and make an album. And it was I don't remember. I feel like even someone said that Morphi Crew or like
I think I saw that.
Just like different people actually work.
Why is it only exactly? Alright, cool. So why is it only when people are talking about Grime popping again, they only look to the past and there's no one that they discuss now?
Because Grime is always best when it's a collaborative effort.
No, but why are we talking about BBK? Why are we talking about More Fire Crew?
Yeah.
Instead of like talking about people that are out here now.
No. You know what? I would say
take the village, bro.
No, because
come back to the village, like Wiley said.
No, but in that as well, like obviously that's a tweet in it, like that's someone's isolated. I don't feel like that needs to happen in it. And I just want to touch back on like the AJ Tracey point you're making and and like just generally his sentiment in it. Like with me, yeah, and like I'm not one to tell people how to live or how they have to deal with situations in it. But I feel like AJ Tracey, he's like, there's an element of like what's the saying? You want your cake, like
you want your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake too. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like you say all this stuff about Grime not growing and Grime not developing and stuff like that, but when you're fostering a sound that's clearly building something, because at the end of the day, the people that are criticizing you, like if you look outwards, if you look at who's consuming Grime and who's like AJ Tracey's the name that everyone knows.
Yeah.
So clearly you're one that's cutting through with this sound that you're making. So you were saying you weren't really getting accepted by Grime, so you went and did the other thing. How's the sound meant to grow if essentially what you did is you threw in the towel?
Yeah.
How is it supposed to grow then if you're not ready to stick through and navigate through?
Yeah. This is what Wiley says. Still, this is what Wiley says.
Exactly what Wiley says.
So how's it supposed to grow if you, because essentially you took the easy route out? And I'm not like I said, I'm not here to judge man's moves. Like at the end of the day, get your P's and fam. At the end of the day, I'm not living in a situation where man are chastising you, but fam, Grime's a contact sport. And they're getting buoyed for different things. There's no one. There's not one act. I don't think there's one act that's come out of Grime that everyone has universally within Grime co-signed. Give me one artist, because even like Chip, Skepta, bro, Devilman was trying to get Skepta the hell out of it.
He was.
And Skepta, microphone champion. You get me? Like, at the end of the day, Grime is a contact sport. You have to be real, and that's what I'm saying about. I see it more as an infrastructure now because, like, yeah, there's an element of hating and stuff like. Because at the end of the day, Grime ain't paying, bro. People are hungry when they do like. So most of the stuff when they're going at you from a place where I'm trying to eat, bro. Yeah. And if you want to look at it on a macro scale, we look at Bugsy and shit, bro. Them man are best of friends now. They had the whole UK choosing sides. But like that's how it is. Like you have to be ready to cut through. If you believe in your sound and you're doing this Grime thing, you have to cut through. Do you get me? Because at the end of the day, he was cutting through the Grime sound.
Yes, he was.
No, he definitely was. He definitely was.
So for me, it's like we can all sit here and choose the easy route and say Grime's dead because I ain't popping no more. But reality, at the end of the day, out of the system, out of the industry, and for me, I think it's the same thing across any genre. It's just people that are doing Grime, they're jumping ship early, understandably, because you can't physically see the money out of it. Obviously, now you have like a Stormzy and stuff like that, but.
Yeah, but even then, is that Grime full and through, innit?
But for me, I say Stormzy still mirrors Grime a lot more than AJ Tracey.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Ahead of AJ Tracey.
100%. It's very true. 100%. It's very true, and he's very honest with this.
Because Stormzy can go back to as far as Stormzy's gone. I still feel like Stormzy can go back to a Rinse FM. I'm gonna look at AJ Tracey go back to Rinse FM as you're forcing it.
Yeah, okay,
I don't know if.
Yeah, but I think it's the elements of the type
up until
of
I haven't heard Heavy as the Head. I haven't heard it.
Okay.
But the album before, there's Grime tunes on that album.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, there are. I hear you.
Big for Your Boots. That's a Grime-esque tune.
But that's why I was going back to what I was saying. Yeah, about you could be a Grime artist and not make Grime, innit? That's why I wouldn't necessarily look at AJ going back to like a Rinse or going back to whatever station it is and be like, that's a bit weird, because to me, I know him as a Grime musician, but you're just a Grime musician who's making other types of music. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's for you though, and that's because you're the layer that's above a casual listener of Grime. If you have an image of AJ Tracey here, and I'm not talking from a perspective of anything against it, but if you have an image of AJ Tracey here, you have an image of Stormzy here, you're gonna look. I'm gonna assume that AJ Tracey's from East Atlanta.
Sure. Yeah, no, I hear you. But no, I hear what you're saying still.
So like for me, it's just hard for me I get where AJ Tracey's coming from, but I feel like he needs like.
I do think
artists that share the same sentiment as AJ Tracey, they need to be aware of how they contributed.
I think
to the fact that Grime is not where everyone deep down wants it to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think people need to admit people need to admit in themselves, and when they talk about this publicly, they have to admit how they contributed or the impact that they have had by leaving or
I
by
think
not
it's the
doing
cool thing
it.
to say
And-
Grime's dead.
I think,
definitely.
and that's why
Definitely.
for example, like, I respect Stormzy because he openly talks about it, and like he said, even on the thing, like if you want to listen to a Grime tape, I wouldn't give you my tape to listen to.
But you can tell he loved. You can tell he loved the genre.
Yeah,
though. You
but
can tell he
that's
loved the
because
genre.
if you're, to me, like if you grew up on Grime or you grew up spitting bars and stuff like that, that's who you are. Like you are Grime music. It's just that I know how to put a chorus together, or I know how to sing too, or I know how to do this thing, and it's like, so I'm gonna do that because, and then it's man's job as well. Like I can't look at man funny because that's his day job as well. He needs to make peace. He needs to do what he wants to do. Maybe he wants to be a global star, and the only way he can do that is by being this auto-tune like guy, whatever.
That's what I'm
fine.
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not chastising, man. That's why I said, at the end of the day, like that's my whole point of Grime being. I look at it like an infrastructure, like an A&R in, like development structure, infrastructure more than an active machine genre. Do you get me? That's why I look at it like that. But it's always just gonna be that infrastructure, that A&R in thing because of decisions the likes of an AJ Tracey might make. Yeah. And it might sound deep, but that's just the way I see it. Do you get me?
You know what it is? I think also the thing is that at the end of the day, if you contribute largely to something, you want to get your dividends at the end of it. So I do feel like when it comes to Grime, a lot of the music that people like the most, it's all being given out for free. So when we talk about Grime, a lot of our favorite moments are gonna come from freestyles where no one got paid from.
Yeah.
That's
or
the
things
truth.
that are
That's
just
what
literally gonna go on the airwaves.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It doesn't generate. That's what I'm saying. People that do Grime are broke, bro. That's why. That's where most of the chastising comes from.
Yeah, and it comes from those that are
Because if all these men were maybe if there was like a Lord of the Mics that goes on tour, if there was a Rinse FM, if they did like a boiler room type of setup where it's different cities, different marquee settings, and man, they were getting peace. You don't even have time to write 96 bars of revenge for my man.
Yeah. It's true.
You don't have time to have three rounds of bars for Skepta and Lord of the Mics.
100%.
You don't have time for that. But man, are broke. Man, are no peas. And they're looking at man that might get a little steam. And they're like, no, I don't like this. Man's fake. Man's fake because I'm not here. He's not here on the block.
I don't.
You get me? Like,
to me, obviously, even like just going back to the Wiley thing, man. Wiley's a capper because he made hella dance streams. He made hella all this stuff.
But the difference between Wiley carries Grime on his back, bro.
Yeah, he does. 100 he does.
Wiley's never silent about Grime. He's doing sidewise and stuff like that. That's why I give him his credit because at the end of the day, like, it's like saying, like, for me, I can look at Grime and like what Wiley's trying to do is like, you know, like how your mom would tell you to like, your parents would like tell you to like give me money like every week, and you're like, oh, why they give me money? And then when you turn 18, they give you like peace to buy a house. That's how I look at it. Like, fam, at the end of the day, Wiley's carrying this, he's mad, he moves mad, and he's doing this stuff, but he's trying to carry something, and at some point say, yo, look, listen, like this is ours, innit? When this machine is ready to be done with you, or this infrastructure, this musical infrastructure,
which it will.
I don't want to be the like. I didn't.
No, but I'm saying on the spectrum for everyone. 98% of artists get dropped. So
you've got this contingency plan here that I've been keeping alive. I've been grafted. I've been putting £1 on.
I've got you at home.
I've been putting £1 on electricity key to keep this yard warm. Do you get me? Like that's the way I see it.
It's true, man. Because if Wiley wasn't putting the work in, if people like Jammer, whoever were playing
alive, like
we actually really may not even have a AJ Tracey, Aitch, Stormzy, even Big Zoo, all of that. We wouldn't have that. All we'd have is just guys just trying to do what everyone else is doing abroad. So we wouldn't actually have something that's actually authentically like British or whatever we are in it as people that grew up here. Like we wouldn't even have this our own sound if it wasn't for the people that turned on the tap in the first place, isn't it? So
even outside of that as well, like that's why, like for me, like even outside of that, I think for stuff like Grime, even given like an identity and a personality for him, because I look part like you have the rappers and stuff and the artists that have come from Grime, but you have like people that work in media. So you have my man from like Marvel.
Yeah.
That came up, like the videographer from Marvel.
Vortex.
Vertex.
Oh, Marvel.
Vertex.
Yeah, I was a Marvel.
You got Vertex coming from that. You even got guys like Poet fam that are like media that come from Grime. Like,
and he backs Grime still.
He backs family.
He loves Skepta, but he backs Grime.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Grime is doing his birth like a personality. His birth like a profile of person that's like we're able to translate. Do you get me? That's able to like translate.
I hear it, man. Even what Lethal Bizzle was saying, innit? Because it's just like, like at the end of the day, you can have your own opinion, but it really, one thing I would actually potentially agree with what you said is that it's not about you, H not having a place to say he doesn't like it or whatever, but it's not necessarily your place to be like, this is dead. This is because
your place, you understand it.
Yeah, it's not your place necessarily.
He's only speaking his truth though.
He's speaking his truth,
but in your scheme, you could be wrong.
Yeah, 100%. And he has to be open.
Yeah, obviously, you're human and you can be wrong, but he's just saying he's just representing himself and his peers, innit?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like, you can't. No one can take that away from him. But
who are his peers? Are his peers people that are still making grime music, or are his peers other people from abroad? Or because even the music that people like AJ Tracey, Aitch, like there's like a handful of people that actually make that specific sound, and all of them make that sound.
But he wasn't talking on as a musician. He was just talking about. He said people my age and below. So he's just talking about a group of people, a certain demographic of people.
Yeah, but he has a bias. He's on the radio. He's on the radio station.
But it's not about bias, because we're the first ones to say like, there's new tunes that come out all the time with Lil this, Lil that, or you might go to a mall if you don't even know the tune. That's what kids want to listen to. That's what the kids are listening to.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
obviously there are pockets of people that age that will listen to grime, or they had older brothers, or they've, like you said, they've gone back and listened to H or an AJ or a J and me and thinking, this is sick or whatever. But I can't talk on behalf of like the most part or whatever, but from what we understand and what we can see in the numbers and the musicians that are popping now, kids they're flocking to who is popping. And if people are not popping in grime, then you're not likely to go down that route, because it's seen as alternative, or it's seen as being very different from me just listening to flipping Drake, or me listening to I don't know who's popping these days, man. Just one of these little kids, Roddy Rich or Lil Baby.
I feel like this. We're like it's being looked at in a linear way, innit? Obviously, it's not like a direct thing of like grime being irrelevant, but man's on a radio station saying grime's dead, promoting a track.
But he's not saying grime. But he's not saying grime. But again, like, it goes back to what I was saying before about when people say grime's dead, innit? Like, I can't talk on behalf of my man, but even when he was saying it, the question was being asked to him, and he's answered it in a way that he said,
it's true to him.
He said, because they were like, what, you think people want to see Wiley and Stormzy? And he said, no one my age and below wants to see that. And if that's the truth, like, if people aren't paying,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
I don't want to insult, like, I don't want to insult intelligence, but I don't even feel like you can sit and say like they like someone of that profile, like they're not gonna like know what they want to see. They're just gonna hear AJ Tracey featuring H Rain, and they're just gonna decide whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
They're not strategically saying, like, imagine if like Octavian and Darko made a track. Like, no, that's not what they're doing.
It's not
they're just going on YouTube and seeing what's coming out now. They're going on Spotify, seeing what's coming out now. They're seeing their new artists, and it's algorithms now. They're just loving what they hear.
It's what people getting feeded.
Yeah, they're just taking it.
That goes back to me saying that that's why they could say grime is dead, or they don't know about grime, because it's about, if you're talking about algorithms or you're talking about relevancy, if these things are not popping up, then they're not aware. It's a completely different world to them, or they're not aware of what's going on, or they don't know who's popping in the grime scene. Or I keep saying grime scene because it could be anything, but who's popping in this space. And like, just going back to, if we're talking about the music that is relevant in the UK right now, the music that pops up first when you go on New Music Friday or when you go on Apple Agenda, and if grime isn't there, people are not. We know, like, it's just brand. We actually did marketing, it's just brand awareness. If you're not aware of something,
just label stuff.
Yeah, like if you're not aware of it, you won't know. Like they will never know. And obviously that's why he can say he can say they're not interested in that. But I think, obviously, with him saying no one wants to see a clash between Wiley and Stormzy. Obviously, people want to see it, but I can understand why he would say people their age and below won't, because they don't even care or they don't even know who the person is.
Yeah.
I only know Wiley from some of these kids. Like when the Wiley and Stormzy thing was happening, and you look below the replies, the people that were violating Wiley were just little kids that they don't even know who Wiley is. They just know about Stormzy.
But
and everything they'll say, everything they'll say is just Stormzy this. Oh, Stormzy's the biggest thing. Stormzy's this. Stormzy's that. But you don't know who Wiley was or what Wiley has done.
We've seen this before when we saw Chip, Waddup, like 20 different MCs. That's the truth, because even when it came to like Chipmunk and then Bugsy Malone went all the way to Tottenham Stadium. Bugsy Malone was outside Tottenham Stadium. They were clashing, and then he started clashing Tiny Temper, and then Youngin gets involved. At the end of the day, I didn't know who Bugsy Malone was. I'm not gonna lie. I knew that he had a fire in the booth. I'd never listened to it. I listened to every diss he sent for Chip. After that, when it came to Youngin, I didn't listen to Youngin. I'm not listening to Youngin, not in any way. I don't listen. That's not who I'm tuning into.
Profile,
But when he was sending for Chip, I was listening to that. Tiny Temper, I don't feel like he had made music in the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
He hadn't. There was nothing there at all. The last thing he made was like junk food, I think, or something like that.
Chicken and chips.
But yeah, so I feel like at the end of the day, grime is actually relevant, man. And at the end of the day,
so that would make it relevant.
But this is what I'm saying. I think it's a collaborative sport. So at the end of the day, when two large artists go at it together, or when people go in a booth and say, yeah, like this is something different, people are going to tune in. And I think a lot of this stuff is based off networks. It's based off networks, who knows who. At the end of the day, when you got two artists or one artist that's popping enough, everyone is going to look at who else is in the room. And I think that's just the nature of things and how things are moving today.
I agree with that.
So I think in terms of, if it's Wiley versus Stormzy or whoever it is, fam, Chipmunk versus Youngin versus Tiny, the whole country was saying, yo, this is mad. And how many people did not like grime before they heard that and said, oh, this grime thing is sick. This grime thing is amazing. This grime did this. So I think grime it has a lot of catalyst moments, and I think that we just need the community, the village, as Wiley calls it, to just say one time we have one of these catalyst moments, let's make something of it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last thing was
springboard off it.
Stormzy did do something off of it, in my opinion, innit?
Yeah.
I feel like he did the best that he could in those circumstances, because he has been able to put, in quotation, like black music on a pedestal, and whatever has come from, you know, these black working class stereotypes or whatever, like people whatever the Daily Mail want to say in it, he's created it and allowed it to be, whenever they put something up about him, it's always positive because Stormzy's in that box. You feel me? So I feel like we need more Stormzys, you feel me? We need more Stormzys, people that even if they don't make grime, I'm going to say, I'm going to vouch for this person and that person, and you need to take a look at this because it's cold. Grime doesn't necessarily need for it to be, it doesn't need to chart, fam. That thing that, what have you done for my son? That didn't chart.
It didn't chart.
And no one cares if it charted or not at the end of the day.
My son.
But
then how does it pay his bills?
How does he pay his bills?
Yeah.
Fam, make more tunes with Red Rat. You feel me? Go do your Bashman or whatever. But just remember.
But then you're gonna be called a sellout.
No,
you're not.
And then we're back to square one. You're gonna be called.
Don't insult. You're insulting. Don't insult.
You're gonna be called a sellout.
Obviously, we have passive fans. Yeah. But even the passive fans don't even have opinions on music like that, fam. They just listen to the music, but fam, don't fool the people that are actually in tune, fam. Because Stormzy's not a sellout, bro.
Yeah,
Stormzy's not.
Yeah.
Stormzy's not a sellout.
This is I don't fool people.
Not even
People will say it and they'll know they're hating.
People
They're
don't self-reflect,
Leave
bro.
it be is not a
People
sellout.
don't
self-reflect because at the time, there was a certain period in time where people were saying you're not allowed to make certain music if you're from a certain that's what everyone was saying.
Yeah,
Let's not
it
do that.
is
Let's not do
true.
that.
It is true.
Everyone was saying
You know,
that,
and you got to realize
everyone was saying
that.
that, and even to this day, people at Tiny Temper still get bullied.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because you got to realize don't, because at the end of the day, like you're moving like everyone that's gone through that pipeline has been called a sellout. Not everyone that's gone through that pipeline has been called a sellout.
Yeah, because things
Leaf will be
change.
made a
Progressively
lot.
change.
Leaf will be made Festa skank. Like,
and it's because people I think
Because
obviously
of
it's a
it-
different
yeah.
element, but people respect. If people respect you, you're allowed to get away with things.
where does the respect come from?
I'm just being a real guy, fam.
I hear it. And on that note, fam, that's Pure Water Podcast, fam.
Yeah,
Okay, bye.
And I do you do garage music, mate? Do you do garage music? No. You got none of that.